Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katie Ray. I am joined with the Ambee Stevens. And I said Ambee, not Amber. Don't get it twisted. So thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me, Katie Ray.
Ambee is someone I'm very thankful was brought into my life. I guess we have to thank Vanessa, but she's gotten a lot of credit lately, so I don't know what we're doing. But I am inspired by Ambee. I love just talking about life with Ambee. She comes from a lot of experiences, but a lot of purpose-filled mission. She will talk about her quote later. But thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we'll have to give Vanessa some credit.
Just a little.
It's a little credit to help us introduce each other, and we became good friends.
Yeah,
so
very good.
Thanks, B.
Yeah, so we're going to have some fun. We'll talk about kind of how did you become who you are today? That's what we're going to do.
So, obviously you said my name, Ambee. I am, for those of you who don't know or listening, I am the founder and chief empowerment officer of EmpowHERment Community Center. I'm laughing because I just almost forgot where I was coming from.
Where I am the founder of.
Yeah, empowerment, yay. So Katie knows a little bit about this. My father died by suicide 4.5 years ago. And so when that happened, I really wanted to start a community to kind of help myself heal and grieve and get from where I was at to where I wanted to be. I recognized that I had so many siblings who never talked about what he was going through. And then my friend group also didn't talk about what they were going through, as I did as well. So started that. EmpowHERment started as a really interesting Facebook group where we were literally just kind of coming together and like chatting about things like self-love and self-care. And after 6 months of talking to people about it, I decided to meet in person. So we would meet at different coffee shops and restaurants like Chili's. Yes, we'll give Chili's a shout out. That's where we started. Chili's! And we would bring in experts in different fields to talk about things like divorce, grief, suicide, mental health, all of these really important topics that I recognized people weren't talking about. And then kind of fast forward, I was like, holy cow, we need to do more than just these one-off events once a month. Let's figure out how to help people with wraparound services. And that's kind of how a really brief about how empowerment
That's
was
super
born.
brief, but so powerful still.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy too because something that helped you heal is what grew into where you are today.
Yeah, it's really cool too.
I mean, you're still healing every day, but it's
yeah, for sure. I was just going to say, I recognize, I'm going to just like get right into it. Last year, we were planning that big gala. So we have a gala every year. That's where we raise our funds, for those of you who don't know. And I recognized last year, 2021, that I hadn't healed yet. I was doing all of this like community work, and I recognized that I was grieving and never even had the time to really talk about my dad and heal, where I realized that it wasn't happening. So last year in October, I kind of hit a really weird space where I won't say like rock bottom, but I was like, and just like I am doing all of this work for community, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be at. So now I'm kind of diving deeper into that and really figuring out how to like be okay with my emotions and recognizing that I haven't healed yet. And I'm probably never, it's going to be a work in progress.
I love the realness of that because while you're helping everybody else, you're self-aware that, wait a second, I'm not getting what I need out of this. And it's super important to be real to people because people who are on a journey to help others or doing that, like you have to heal, you have to have your support, you have to do what you need to do. Yeah. And everyone's always expecting you to do everything for everyone and you're not taking that moment. So
for sure.
Thanks for being real.
Yeah, always.
I like to make sure we're real. Thank you so much. So one of my favorite things about empowerment is how you have just really grown like your allies, like your community and your partnerships. They're big ass companies, right? And is that crazy for someone your age?
Yeah.
Right? She young. She young.
A whole 28.
She's 28. But to start is it crazy sometimes when you're in a room and you're just like, shit, I did this? Right?
Yeah, and I'm just laughing because you freaking know I'm so bad at doing this. You're trying to call me out on the podcast. I'm so bad at doing that. I'm still working through it, right? Like when the naked eye talks about empowerment and me, they have these great words that they say and all of us, and I appreciate it, but I don't really see that person just yet. And this partnership, yeah, for sure. But there's so many partnerships that we have that are way outside of what I would have ever imagined. My dad would be like, holy cow, you do it. So I think it's just a work in progress and just trying to recognize how far I've come and we've come as a community, but also like being like, okay, girl, you did this.
Yeah.
You know?
And is it hard for some of your family to know that you kind of put your story out there so that people feel comfortable and feel no shame or anything like that? Like, is it hard for some family members because they haven't gotten to that point where they want to share?
Yeah. So, like in the Black community, it's super taboo, and they don't. When people say someone died by suicide, that's a whole conversation. My father suffered from drug addiction, mental health, and several other issues that he was going through even since I was a baby. So he was also he's just an amazing man, but very what's the word when you do things like spontaneous, impulsive. Yeah. So all of these amazing things about him that I thought was so funny growing up, but now that I'm doing my own research and learning, knew that was his mental health challenges. So my family in the Black community, we have a hard time addressing that someone did die by suicide and he was suffering from mental health. Just after the gala, my grandma cursed me out because she's like, my son didn't die by suicide, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He did die by suicide, but just being, super upset by it and having a hard time accepting that.
Just the denial aspect of it.
So denial. And I'm the oldest of 9. And so I'm always like, we have a different experience from my dad than she did, as she should, right? Like no mom wants to, I'm not a mom yet, but I know that I'm sure as a mom, you wouldn't want to admit that. Unfortunately, for someone who grew up with him for 20 odd years, I have a different experience, and it's my story versus hers.
Yeah, and you were the oldest too, so you saw a lot more.
Yeah, and had a lot to carry. I mean, when he passed away, I had to raise the money to bury him or cremate him. I had to raise the money to figure out how we were going to bring my brother down from all these places. Yeah. So yeah, it just
and instead of like brushing it, you wanted to be more open about what was happening so that you could probably help someone else.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing, right? Like if I never expressed how I felt and I wasn't vulnerable about his passing, we wouldn't be able to serve the women that we serve, right? Like 2021 Empowerment serves over 700 women and families. If I did not come out here and say, here's what happened, here's what we're going to do about it, that's 700 people in just 1 year.
Isn't that awesome?
That wasn't served.
I know. So cool. I mean, awesome. Just because when you say that number, it sounds pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
It's like the journey you got here wasn't fun. No. But now you can say, like, here we are.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Yeah. I get goosebumps. Oh. Gotta shave my legs again. But I do feel like that's important for you as a Black woman to state, like, I know in our community, this is hush hush, right? But this is what happened. I want you to know there's no shame around it. I want your family to know that. Yep. And you being the oldest of 9 is huge. Yeah. That responsibility in itself, and then losing a parent is even bigger. So it's like you're just sharing your story to help that one person.
Yeah, and just being vulnerable and honest. There's so much that went into his journey, the drug thing and addiction and all that. It's more than just one thing, and being able to express that to other people, I think.
Oh my gosh, and everybody connects to some piece of your story.
Yes, absolutely.
Hence my timeline. But like someone will connect to it because it's just so quiet all the time about stuff and addiction and drugs and suicide and all of that. And I think that's so. Where did you get that courage, do you think?
It's a good question. My dad was a super courageous person. I do think. So my really deep conversation to myself is that like everything happens for a reason. My dad poured so much into me. He raised me very differently from most of my other siblings. We were very close in terms of how he wanted me to be raised. And so I think he gave me a lot of the courage. I think I'm invincible to everything. I ain't, but that's from him. It really is from him. So I think he poured a lot into him and me. So my bigger picture is like God, like, yeah, I miss you, but I do believe that you died for a purpose. Your purpose was like, maybe I was your purpose because he really did pour everything he had into me. And then that this is going to be able to help so many other people. That's kind of how I think I get.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's super powerful. What is your quote that's the mural on your new location?
In a world full of paper chasers, be a purpose chaser.
I love that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Purpose chaser.
You are a purpose chaser. And I think that's what sets you apart from other entrepreneurs, other people helping others. You do pour your heart into it, but you've realized that you now need a balance of what needs to be poured into me, right?
Yeah.
And I think, again, you younger, but like you've gone through so much life that you've probably actually poured into the wrong people. And you've had to like kind of set, because you're going through those experiences that 20-year-olds go through, right? And you're just like, oh, okay, I need to get through this quicker. Yeah. Because I got a lot of shit to do. But I think that's super important. And I hate bringing up age, but I also think as much as people are like, oh, well, she's so young, why is she like talking about? I think that also inspires the older generations to be like, shit, we need to get our shit together.
No, age is important. I'm laughing because it's like, you know this, like a lot of my friends are older than me. I'm usually the youngest person in the room. But what's unique about it is that, so I have like all of these like very mature and older experiences. I had to go through life very quickly. But as someone who's 28, I still have these just natural 28 things that I'm just.
As you should.
Yeah. No matter how fast I had to grow, no matter how many friends that are older than me. I mean, you know, my husband is 10 years older than me. And most of our friends and family are this around the same age, but I still go through 28 stuff.
Yeah.
Just, like, challenges.
Let me be.
Yeah. So it's just funny because I forget that. I often forget that, oh, wait, you're only 28.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to be having these random thoughts and dramas. And I'm like, wait, but like they don't go through this. Wait, but they're also 39 and 40 years old. It's okay.
We went through it. We went through it. Yeah. But I do love that about you. It's never an age thing when we're chatting, but I do. I think it's important to have a variety of friends from all different generations. I think it's important just to kind of keep your mind open, and then you're like, oh shit, you're going through that right now. Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through that right now.
Do you ever forget that I'm 28?
Yeah, 100%.
So does Lynn. He's always like.
But then when you go through drama, I'm like, oh shit, I remember that.
Yeah. That's what Lynn said. He goes, oh, I forget. Like, he'll be like, what the heck?
Why do you have friend drama? Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Okay, I forget. That's right.
That is great though. But I love that about you. I think it's I just think it's great. And with this Women's History International Month, History Month. Did I say it right?
Women's International.
Women's History International. Wait, whatever. You got an awesome award.
I did.
Can we talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. But like, can we talk about what I got? Because I don't even remember. No, I was the City of Largo. I received a proclamation from the City of Largo for Women's History Month.
Yeah, and how cool is that?
It was so cool.
I think these little like snippets throughout your everyday is pretty huge. And it's hard, because it's overwhelming. You're running a business essentially, and you're helping others, and you're definitely in your feelings sometimes. You're helping others and in your own feelings. It's all that. But you got to take those step backs and be like, holy shit.
Yeah. I did this. Yeah.
I did this thing today. I know. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, me too. I'm working on that. So like when I think about that day and just the awards that I am getting, everything moves so fast that I'm always in a rush. I'm always like, let's just get it over with. But like realizing, holy cow, this happened to you. Let's celebrate it and take a moment, as opposed to me being like, okay, this happened. Bye, I'm done. No big deal. So just trying to be more mindful of the small and big ones, because there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think is some advice you have for any part of the labels you've been given, but like as just a business owner right now, entrepreneur, what's one advice you would give for that? I'm gonna have more advice, like as a Black woman leader. All
right. So as an entrepreneur, I would say, not everyone's gonna agree with this, but I say chase purpose. I think the money will come. I think it's really easy to keep looking at your account and seeing, oh, I'm not successful, I'm not making any money. I was not paid for empowerment for 4 years. We're in 5 years now before I became a paid employee. But I wanted to chase my purpose, and I believe that if I'm doing the right thing, if it's in my will, I'm going to get something out of it, and it works. So I would say just chase purpose and give yourself grace.
Can we make a song about it?
Yeah. Okay. Are we gonna do a duet?
Yes, later.
All right, cool.
Please stay tuned. And then as just a leader, a Black woman, and we're in a weird time in society in general, but like, how do you remain true to your core?
Yeah. I'm gonna shake some tables with this one, but
shake it.
I will
shake it up. I mean, not this one; it's glass, but you can do what you want.
The table in your head. Okay. So I think a few years ago we went through this whole thing about trying to be equal and that type of thing. My advice as a Black leader is to surround yourself with a diverse group of people. One thing that makes me, and Katie knows this, very unique and very different as a Black woman is that I love different. My friend group is so different. I have Black women, mixed women, white women, Hispanic, and that is really special to me. I love that about myself and about empowerment. So I say, in order to make real change, you have to have different opinions and perspectives. So be open to being around other people. And I think in 2020, we went through this whole phase of okay, it's our turn to, as a Black woman, it's our turn to be leaders and to change the world and be on top. We should finally get what we are owed. And while I agree to that, I also think if we want to be equal, we have to bring these people to the table and have these conversations and not just go from one way to the next. That makes sense?
Because then you're changing everybody's life.
Yeah, and not just flip it, but instead say, if we want to be equal and really change the world for our children and for ourselves, we need to be equul together.
And see everybody as that.
Exactly, and not just flip it upside down.
Do you get a lot of backlash for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, my family does not agree to that. They're like, what the hell? That makes no sense. But to me, it's
no, it does. Yeah. And you're in it all day, right? So
I'm called Oreo my entire life.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Thank you, family. But I feel like you're in just a place. I totally agree with you on that. I used to say that just for also women and men, because we're here in a women's group, right? As leaders in an organization, because I was very corporatized. And you're talking to all these women. It's speak up, do this, do that. And there's no men in the room.
Yes.
And you're
yeah,
we're trying to get you to know that we're going to. Yeah. But you're not here to,
yeah.
We're all hyping each other, but at the same, they need to come in and understand where we're coming from right now.
Absolutely.
So that's what I feel
Same.
The same,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. And I love that you stick to that.
Yeah.
Even as if you're getting backlash.
Yeah. It's hard. Because you have these things where you're thinking, okay, am I doing this correctly? Is it wrong? But I believe that it's right. I really enjoy my diverse circles. I think I will say for me, it has helped.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's super important. I have very diverse circles because also you learn from each other. Your children see that this isn't this is how life is. It's just a very important aspect. I love that about you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I love that you like to shake tables.
I do. That's why I always get in trouble. We spoke at an event in September, Katie and I was talking about my dad and everything, and my mom's texting me what are you saying? Why are you saying this? This is not okay. And I'm oh, I should have warned you, Mom.
You're oh, I'm completely honest and open about this.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I'll apologize later. Bye.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it even. I think that's why you have an amazing group around you and people that follow you and people that want to learn from you, is because you keep it as real as it can get. Because what are we just going to put on this facade and be this is how great everything is? I never go through any mental issues. I'm never down. I'm just living life, running an organization, helping 700 women. That's just not real. That's just, can we get real, please?
Yeah.
And I do think the story with your dad is super powerful. You know how many people you connect with who are the oldest child? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That has to bring on just that in general, that anxiety and just responsibility. I see it in my 8-year-old. I've already gotten him counseling because I'm you have a lot on your shoulders. You know, you don't mean to put it on them, but you're like, make sure your sister doesn't do that. You know, and you're just
and no
like,
one talks
okay.
about that.
Yeah, and you have like 8 kids under you, and you're like, this is a little bit much. Did I sign up for this? And then everybody grieving at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, that's super hard.
Yeah.
And you probably pushed yours aside to make sure everybody else was okay. So I think just that connection, being a daughter, I just feel like you connect with a lot of people. And I like how you stay behind the scenes sometimes.
Yeah,
You're just like, we're empowerment. That's what we do. Tell them what we do.
Tell them what we do, y'all. I do. I have to work on that. People always are like, you do realize
how many people you connect with.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Tell them why we're here.
We're working through it.
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, we're working through
it. It's the firstborn syndrome where you're like, everyone else. I'm just here. Yeah. Everyone else gets all the credit, all the stuff. I just work through it all together.
I mean, not a horrible. I mean, you're an amazing human like that, but of course, like we're here for you.
Yeah,
we came to see you. So, what's so amazing about your second location opening?
Yes, we didn't even say that.
No.
Okay, EmpowHERment has a community center in Clearwater, and we are opening our second one in Palm Harbor. This community center is what my dream always has been. Once I started thinking about the future of empowerment, I wanted a large location where people could have different themes in the different rooms, like entrepreneurship, therapy, a boutique, and then ultimately a huge event space so that other women can rent the space out and have their own networking events, podcasts, grand opening, whatever you want to do in this large room. So this space now sits 200 people just in that event space. And then there is several rooms inside of that we're currently creating. So
how cool.
We're opening April 30th.
Did you manifest this?
I don't know.
That's my favorite answer ever.
I don't know.
People are always like, manifested, done. And you're like, I'm actually not sure.
I'm not quite sure. No, I don't know. In the beginning of this year, I was like, God, just take over empowerment, whatever you want it to be, make it happen. And I'm just going to accept it and be like, okay, cool. And so I don't know.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel like you did. But I think it's so cool because your vision was like these different spaces and it's all under one roof.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah. And you'll keep the Clearwater.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to keep it. Because I said we served those, all those people last year. It's important for me to be able to continue serving them and not just, not give them that home.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm super hyped about it. I'm over here like, yeah. So what's your favorite, maybe like one of your biggest success story other than empowerment, like within empowerment?
Okay. I was like, wait, what?
No, like within it, like one of your story. You don't have to like say a person's name or anything like that. Just like something that you knew you were doing the right thing, like other than serving 700 women, but like there's like that one thing that just like makes your heart happy when you think about it.
It's recently. So one of the things that makes empowerment so unique is that you don't have to be someone who quote unquote needs support to come to empowerment. So a lot of nonprofits nearby, you have to, especially for women, you have to have the prerequisite of like sexual assault, domestic violence, or whatever the case may be. In empowerment, you don't. You just need to be someone who comes to empowerment and says, hey, I want to be around you guys. Help me. Or don't help me. Or just, I just want to be with you. And
I didn't realize other nonprofits have like a prerequisite.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How do you bring that paper in? What is that?
You have to disclose.
Like have you just disclose your story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
it's not like a confirmation somewhere, like a police station.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So a lot of domestic violence places, no names, you have to show a police report in order to receive a lot of their services. And if you have not disclosed.
You can't go in the services?
You can go to the outreach services, but for like if you went to the shelter, you'd have to show a lot of those. Yeah, they're working through that. But empowerment is not like that. Okay. So you don't need to have any prereq. You don't even have to be someone who needs that like help. You just need you just want to be around the women, whatever. So recently we had someone who went to a couple of shelters nearby. She is a woman who is a lawyer. So to the naked eye, she has money. Mm-hmm. She drives a really nice car, looks very presentable, beautiful, face clean. So just someone like, the normal person, she just does not look like she needs quote unquote help. Came to empowerment and told us what was going on, which was her husband was domestically abusing her, but not physically. So through gaslighting, through emotional abuse, and she was mentally like over it. And she said, people keep thinking that this car, I should just go sell this car, but he's abusing me to the point where he has all the money, he has everything. And they had been together for 25 years. So she trusted him to have all this stuff together. And so she said, if I leave him, I have no idea what to even do. So we had referred her to several different domestic violence shelters nearby. But unfortunately, because she doesn't look like someone who needs that support, she was not being able to receive their services. She didn't want to go to a shelter, because think about that too. If you are a lawyer and you've gotten so far in life, would you want to go to a shelter? Probably not. So she didn't want to do that. So anywho, we decided we were going to set her up with a apartment, and we all know right now apartments are very expensive.
Oh my gosh.
But she wanted to be out of the area. So she's currently in Brooksville. And so we were able to set her up with a really nice apartment. We were able to pay for that, being able to get her to the apartment. We bought her kids a bed. And so just really setting her up for this new life. And so one of the things that's unique is that she, of course, those things are important, but also the therapy. So as a lawyer, she was in Tampa Bay. She was embarrassed about going to a therapist. So we were able to find her a lawyer in Brooksville that was able to actually come to her. So she's going to be having in-house therapy with her and her children.
So great.
Yeah, it's really, and then also our workshops. So she's going to come in virtually and learn about financial wellness, because even though she's a lawyer, you would think, she doesn't know about that. So financial wellness, healing and wellness. So she's going to be able to experience all of these services from her home, because now she lives out of the way, and really set her up for success as she's trying to explore the new chapter of her life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, you know what is so crazy about that is like, because you don't look the part. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can still be having a ton of horrible issues at home. Just because you've done well for yourself, you've worked really hard, doesn't mean that everything's fine and dandy. And that's horrible.
It is. And it happens to so many women. And I think in Tampa Bay, I'm still working on how to explain this in my narrative, but being able to say, like, even if you're in a relationship with somebody or you are in a place where you're not happy or whatever, you can still want to be supported and be around like-minded women to help you, whatever you're going through. Maybe it is stress from a job. Maybe it's, friendship loss or grieving. Maybe it's not even grieving someone in your life. Maybe it's grieving a job or a friendship or just a chapter. There's just so many things that we as women go through, and there's not a space for someone who just is going through life, because we don't think there's no help for them.
It has to be like extreme like circumstances, and it's like no, because like life is extreme. But I think what's important with that, just letting people, like, whatever's interfering with your peace, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because
like that woman is a perfect example of like, you've worked really hard for something you're doing, and now there's another factor and affecting your peace and like your work.
Absolutely.
And there were kids, and that's so cool. Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, not great story, but like that's a great example of what you do that's outside of the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so welcoming for people to not feel kind of like shunned away. Like, oh, yours isn't that bad. Yeah. Come on.
Absolutely. And it also helps with like, I want to have, and I do have this space where I can sit next to a woman and her say like, okay, that's not for me. I don't qualify. Maybe like, yes, you do. And here's how, right? Like we have a program for every single woman that cross our path, regardless of what you look.
We validate.
Act like, we got you some way. And like I said, like this person, she's also very strong, and it's like, I don't want to tell people what's going on, as I understand that. So being able to provide her an empowering space to say, you are so amazing. We're just going to help you get it together.
Do you know how she found you?
Yes. A friend of a friend.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's good. Yeah. People are talking.
Friend of a friend.
I also think the support that you give people is just going to excel them and help them propel in life. Yeah. And them reaching out is like a huge step.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's you've given them a space to just feel okay to, like when people go somewhere and they're like, pushed away, it's like, oh, you're not that bad, so like you should be fine. So like just go on. And you're like, what? You can't validate like how you feel, like, oh, okay. Like, okay, I'll just go now.
You're like, oh, you're not that bad.
Oh, okay. So oh no, cool. Okay, yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, because emotional abuse, physical abuse, all the abuse is not okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting that story to be awesome.
Sorry.
Thank you. Just kidding. It was awesome. I know when I said it, you're like, my success story is empowerment, Katie. No, I meant like within it, like within.
I appreciate it. And it's good for me to talk about that because I think in my role, I unfortunately don't get to do that day-to-day stuff. So it's really cool
taking a step back
to talk about it.
Yeah, because you don't get to do what you're really passionate about is directly helping people. Yeah. Because you're in like the admin or the business or the donors or all the fun stuff. And you're like, okay, get back to it.
I always like, dang, how did I go from like in the shit to like, oh wait, now I'm raising money all day.
One of my favorite benefits in empowerment is the therapy services, counseling. Because for me, like I wish I didn't just go to counseling when shit hit the fan. I wish I just continuously went to it all the time. And I'm a huge component and it's not always available. And I do understand that everybody doesn't have the availability for it. So the fact that you provide that is so important for the kids and like it's just so important to have that person that can just help you kind of get your head on straight.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. We not only do we have in-house therapy, we also have 2 organizations that we pay them to help the people who need support. Whether it's so great, it's because there's such a variety of it: death, grief, divorce, LGBTQ, transition. We can help. It's great
with life.
Yeah, with life.
Important.
It's incredible.
So you serve all women. From all different backgrounds. Just need a little bit of help.
Yep.
There's your mission. You're welcome. Enjoy your mission from 4 years.
Our mission is to empower all women by fostering the skills and resources needed in financial and wellness, cultivation of relationships, and mental health. Thanks, Katie.
What? I just summarized that really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what's something... Oh, wait. Where can we find you? Where can we find all the things?
Find me by following Katie. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, somewhere around Tampa Bay. I'm always everywhere. But EmpowHERment is in Clearwater near Ulmerton and then in Palm Harbor near Curlew Road. And then always online. If you're someone who needs support and you can't reach us at those locations, we can still help you remotely as long as you are in Florida.
Love that. And your new location will be out after this episode. So you have Palm Harbor and Clearwater locations. You're doing it, sister.
We're doing
it. We are doing it. Everybody is doing it. You can find Ambee. Do you have any last thoughts for my million listeners?
Oh, Katie.
I like putting people on the spot. I like stumping peeps.
Follow your purpose and be the best person you can possibly be and make someone smile with every interaction.
Yes.
Try to.
Yes. Thank you, Ambee, for clarifying that. I hope Chris listens to this episode because in first grade, they said, what do you want to be? I said, I want to make people smile. And everybody laughed at me.
No.
How dare them? And so he always laughs and says, did you make someone smile today? So thank you for saying that. Yeah. Oh my God.
You make me smile
She makes me smile. Thank you for validating my purpose.
Anytime. I'm so happy.
You can find Ambee at katieray.com, Not a Great Whisper, at The Real K Ray. We are at BKN Creative Studios on this lovely day, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is super fun. I love you.